where what's most important to you is the actualization of your heart's desires. Because there comes a point in a person's life where it's like, what's the alternative? There's no alternative, and I'm going to get to that later. I'm going to ask you some questions around that, and I'm going to highlight that point. But I really want to make it clear that being persistent towards your dreams and goals, a lot of people shy away from this, and they think that, oh, I shouldn't do it, it's egotistical, it's wrong. I think that this is a point that many people need to overcome in their life, or a thing that people need to overcome in their life, because when you shy away from going towards what it is that you want, it's never going to be something that let's be honest, you're going to regret it. It's going to be regret. See, there's pain that comes from not doing what you want. And then there's pain that comes from disciplining yourself to create the life that you want. Either way, pain and suffering is probably going to be a part of our experience. But at least in one reality, that pain and suffering is transmuted and alchemized towards what you prefer. Let's talk about that in this video. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell, because I do actually post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, all deals for that will be down below. Now, the first thing that I want to share with you in this video is, rather than working really, really hard, and I'm not saying there's not a time and place for hard work, depending on where you're at, like smart work, hard work, it all depends, right? There's a time and place for both. I found that in my experience, attaching to one path or one way of thinking towards any concept or thing in life usually is faulty. It's a faulty way of thinking. It's like, just work smart or just work hard. Well, maybe there's a little bit of both for different times at different places. But what I want to share with you is one side of the argument, or one perspective, which is that rather than trying really, really hard, and you can try hard sometimes if you want, and I'm going to get to that in a second, what I want you to try and to test for yourself is to be persistent with this sort of like consistent energy. This sort of like consistent energy. Because I found that, yes, there's a time and place to work hard. I'm not saying that's not a thing. But if we're talking about long-term results and like the true actualization and building like a foundation and a structure for your life, like a structure, a true structure, what I found is that rather than trying really, really hard, one thing that can be really useful is simply to be persistent with like a consistent energy. Like a consistent energy. Like an energy where you're very consistent, like again and again and again. You respect yourself, you honor yourself, but you're consistent and you're consistent and you're consistent, and you keep going towards what you want. Okay, and you take all the energy of the past and you transmute it and you turn it into something great. And you can apply this to anything in your life. This is about being who you want to be. This is about embodying your true self. This is about taking that energy and turning it into gold. Taking dirt and turning it into gold. That's what it is. So how to be persistent toward your dreams and goals, and no matter what, is one way to do it is to be consistent again and again and again and again. Rather than working hard, be consistent. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a time and place, or maybe you got to push a little bit harder, respectfully so, honoring all people, of course. But what I'm trying to say is that it's about doing it again and again and again. Some people might say like, oh, doing the same thing over and over and over is a definition of insanity. You know, maybe from one perspective, but also from another perspective, if you want to become a master at something, you do have to do training and consistency and practice and doing the same thing again and again and again. And people are going to think you're insane, and you do it again and again and again. And then 10 years later, when you manifest your heart's desire, people will ask you, how did you do that? How did you come up with it? You'll tell them, well, actually, I did the same thing every single day for 10 years. And nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Look at the people that have what they want. Look at the people that are very consistent. Look at the people that built a foundation for their life. And you look at that person and you're like, whoa, They've built a lot in life. I wonder how they did that. We'll look back how long they've been on the path. How long have they been working at the path for? Sure, you could say they worked hard from one perspective. Working hard is part of it. Putting in the effort, putting in the work is one perspective. Another perspective is they little by little, step by step, did it again and again and again. And you can apply this to anything. Seriously, you can really apply that to anything. Like if you look at a lot of things in your life, or people's life and what they've created, what you'll find is that usually the ones that are very successful, they started 10, 15 years ago, but nobody wants to talk about that. And usually these people have gone through many, many shadows that most people don't see. They don't talk about their shadow too much. They don't talk about it because they're past it. And then you have other people looking at that person and be like, oh my gosh, like they probably got lucky. They probably didn't have a hard life like me. This person probably doesn't know what pain and suffering is. Oftentimes not true. It's just that when somebody has been, oftentimes usually the person that shines their light the brightest and looks the most, most well put together and like successful and clean, they're usually the people that have faced their shadow the most. And they face their shadow so much, they have little desire to convince others on why they should overcome their shadow. They just embody their light. They embody their light. And some people judge. They don't care. They don't care. They're not interested in convincing others why they should stop judging them or why they should stop being negative. They just shine their success. They shine their success. And so that's a whole other topic. I need to record a whole other video on that, honestly. That's a good idea that I just came up with while I'm recording this one. but what I'm trying to share is that rather than trying really, really hard, you can try this idea of just of consistency and consistent. Like if you want to be a masterful piano player, then play the piano every single day. Play the piano every single day. And you think, oh, well, that's not the definition of insanity. Is it? Is it? Personally, for me, when people say like, oh, this person's stuck in a loop and they're doing the same thing again and again, honestly, I'll be honest, I don't know if I resonate with that. I used to like just randomly agree with people that were like, oh, doing the same thing over and over is the definition of insanity. Honestly, I disagree. I think doing the same thing over and over, and again, there's a way to look at that could be insane, but also I think that there's a way to do the same thing over and over and over with consistency and dedication and training and long-term thinking and building a sustainable ground for your life, which is the opposite of insanity. Actually, it's the most same thing you can do. It's the most same possible thing that you can do. And so what I would say is just test it. Try to be consistent, and you'll notice that what comes is that you do build motivation over time, but you don't need motivation anymore because you just show up. It's about showing up and showing up. I believe 99% of success or 90% of success is simply showing up. Just showing up. Can you show up for yourself? And if you can't show up for yourself, you cannot show up for others. It's just the simple truth. If you can't show up for yourself and your craft and your art and what you care about, you won't trust yourself. You're not going to trust yourself, rightfully so. You don't really have a right to trust yourself if you don't show up for yourself. And then personally for me, when I used to do this, when I stopped showing up for myself and who I wanted to be, I lost trust in myself, and I've been through that. And so going through that experience, I can now understand that the most important thing is to be consistent and show up for myself no matter what. Now, if I'm working too hard, am I going to take a step back and build up my energy and like rest? Of course. I'm not going to be pushing. Like again, I'm a firm believer of consistency and walking the middle path. Yes, working, and yes, putting in effort to some degree, taking action, but not so much action where I lose myself in the action. I always know who I am within the action. I always know my intention, why I'm doing what I'm doing within my actions. I always live with integrity, or I try my best to. And if I don't, well, guess what? I suffer the consequences of that, and I learn lessons. Because if I don't live with integrity, I'm only shooting my own self in the foot. So what I'm trying to say here is that rather than like trying really, really hard, and again, I'm not saying there's no time and place for that, try to be consistent, day in, day out. Don't have to do it every single day necessarily, although I would say that every single day to do something is very, very powerful. What I would say is just try to be persistent. Persistent, persistent. When I used to hear people talk about persistence, I assumed that it meant like you need to push really, really hard. Not necessarily. Persistence can be done while managing your energy system. You can manage your energy and be persistent. Persistent, manage your energy. Persistent, manage your energy. Persistent, manage your energy. Push, manage your energy. You can do that. And I'm not saying push like disrespectfully. I'm saying give all that love. Just give all that love. And be persistent and be persistent and be persistent. And what you'll find is that you're going to start manifesting your dreams and goals. You will notice this yourself. Now, the second thing that I want to share with you in this video is that sometimes it'll be harder and sometimes it'll be easier. Okay, there's going to be ebbs and flows in your life. That's what I found. There's cycles. There's sometimes things get a little bit more dense. Sometimes things get a little bit lighter, and that's fine. It's the masculine and the feminine, right? It's the dance of life. But the thing is just to keep going no matter what. And what I'm talking about here is being a grounded human being. This means that you're not always going to feel perfect. You're not always going to feel amazing. But I find that the most important thing is just to keep going. Just to keep going. Just to keep going and to keep going. It sounds cliche and motivational, but it's like you're just going to fall down sometimes, but you got to literally keep going. I know that sounds really cliche, but it's like, I really do believe there's a truth to that. Like, why does a quote like that have millions of views and go viral? It's like, oh, just get up and keep it going. Because I think there's a deep existential truth to that. The quotes that are like really motivational, I'm like, oh my gosh, millions, is so cliche. Well, also, I would say it's not an accident that these quotes have like literally millions of views and like followers and like it goes viral. It's not an accident. You know what I mean? It's not an accident. And the ones that are like, oh my gosh, that's so cliche, it's like those are the ones that are probably not doing what they want to do. You know what I mean? The people that are like, oh my gosh, that's cliche, that's so weird, and it's like, oh my gosh, like stop, and they get triggered by that. It's like, well, actually, are those people manifesting their dream reality? Are they working towards what they want? Are they creating what they want with their life? Usually not. See, the ones that judge, the successful ones, are usually not successful themselves. And oftentimes what you judge, you will never be able to have in your life. If you judge somebody for having something, that's because usually you don't have it. And deep inside you're envious and you're jealous and you're resentful and you're angry and you kind of want it. Like I've noticed people that are like, oh, like, God, this person's just such a big ego. Well, maybe you want an ego like them. Ever thought about that? This person's just such a big ego, judge. Okay, well, what do you not have in your life that they have? Have you ever thought about that? What do you not have in your life that they actually have? Jealousy is such a waste of it's such a waste of time. Jealousy is such a waste of time. I don't waste my time being jealous. I don't waste my time judging people. I don't waste my time complaining. I don't waste my time doing any of this stuff. I don't waste my time because like I used to, but I don't see a point anymore because first of all, anything that somebody has, you can have. And that's a whole other video. So we're gonna have to save that. Otherwise this video is not gonna make sense. But what I want to share though is that sometimes it'll be harder and sometimes it'll be easier. But the thing is just keep going. And again, it sounds cliche. It's like, come on, man, that's cliche. It's like, okay, but it's true. It's true. Right? So what I want to end this video with is, and I feel like this brings a lot of fear into people, but I'm gonna say it anyways. And it makes people, it can bring up a lot of emotion for people. I know that for me, this can bring up a lot of emotion. But what I want to say is, I want to ask a question and go back to what I said at the beginning of the video, which is, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? You know what I mean? Like, I got to a point in my life, I'll be really honest with you, where I was like, what's the alternative? What else am I going to do? Some people ask me, Francis, why do you post videos all the time? Why do you try to help people? Why do you do this? And sometimes people come from this energy of like is he up to no good? Does he have slimy intentions? And it's like, why is he creating what you want? But it's like, look, what else am I going to do with my time? Do you have anything better to do? I'm just creating what I'm excited to create, and I just do it. What's the alternative? You know what I mean? Like I got to a point in my life, I'll be very honest once again. Like I just realized there's like either I move forward and I create more of what I want and I give love to people. I work on myself and then I share with people. I give all that love out. And then I work on myself and then I give all that love out. And it's like, what's the alternative? What else am I gonna do with my time? What else? Like what am I gonna do? Just like give up? I don't know. Like to me, like I don't know. Like I understand people get to really negative points in their life and negative situations, but to me, like giving up is not an option. It's not an option to give up. What does that mean? Give up? What does that mean? Give up? What does that even mean? What does that mean? Like I don't see an option to like give up. Okay, to me, it's about being consistent and working towards what I want, moving forward no matter what. Moving forward no matter what. So if I fall down, I might get angry, I might scream, I might cry, I might get emotional. It's possible. I don't really do that right now. I don't really get too emotional these days in terms of like resistance and anger. But you know, it can happen. You know what I mean? And you know, the key is that, you know, that's just what I want you to sit with is like, what's the alternative? So I want to conclude the video there. I want you to sit with that question, like, what's the alternative? Like, what else is the alternative? What are you gonna do? Sit there and like be lazy and like just like not do what you want to do and like just think about and or what get older and then live to regret not doing what you want to do? Is that the path? Like, what's the alternative? It's either create what I want or like be lazy and do nothing and give up and then just sit there and like derp around and like, oh, I'm just gonna sit here and like not feel good and feel bad. What? It's like there's two options. Either I sit down and I get lazy and I mope around and I start to go into a downward spiral, or I go towards what I want. Okay? And so I believe that we need to see that I mean, for me personally, I can't speak for you. There's no alternative other than to keep going and go towards what I want. Okay? So I conclude the video there. Once again, I recently just launched email coaching. If you do want to be part of my email coaching, all the details for that will be down below. There are limited spots, so be sure to apply as soon as possible. I also have a couple spots left for my one-on-one coaching program. If you want to see if you're a good fit for that, and if you can apply, and if there are spots available, because by the time you're watching this video, there might be no spots available, but you can try your luck and see if there are. All the details for that will be down below as well. As always, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.